Now, for our next story, what I will go and present to you is actually going to be a new kind of convention, because this isn't any ordinary Comic-Con. This is actually an opportunity where not only will you get to go and meet your fan favorite creators and actors and many different people in the animation industry, but also this is a chance that you could go and actually elevate your potential careers and your dreams. Yes, if you ever wish to be a show creator or a voice actor, a writer, a filmmaker, a producer, a director, or any of those kinds, really emphasizing more into the animation aspect, then this convention is for you. Or at least this convention says it's for you, because this is what it all claims. But is that actually the case? Well, let's find out as we will go and analyze Hart Con. Yes, folks, this is the new convention created by Butch Hartman, whom you may know is the creator of the Fairly Odd Parents, Tough Puppy, Danny Phantom, and several others. Now, to go into the specifics about Hart Con, I'm going to go and read you from my source here at hartcon.net to go and describe to you what Hart Con is about. As it states right over here, have you ever dreamed of making a living doing what you love? I mean, who doesn't? Creating movies, telling unforgettable stories, writing scripts, designing animated characters, performing voiceover work, pitching your ideas to studios, and actually selling them? This is what Hart Con is all about. Hart Con is the brainchild of Butch Hartman, the iconic producer, animator, and creator behind beloved Nickelodeon classics, including The Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, Tough Puppy, and Bunsen is a Beast. Yeah, a very interesting choice of words with the iconic producer and beloved Nickelodeon classics. I don't know, there's something, like, I know that shows like Danny Phantom and Fairly Odd Parents are loved, but still though, those choice of words feel very, how can I say, inflated per se. But anyways, beyond television, Butch is also an entrepreneur and founder of Butch Hartman Studios, a full-service animation production company. The studio's recent release, The Garden Cartoon, is already making waves in the Christian children's entertainment market. So from there, basically with Hart Con, which by the way is going to be held March 13th and 14th at the Southern California region, or the Southern California area, basically Hart Con is kind of like a combination of a convention and a workshop, where it basically teaches you to elevate your craft and actually have opportunities to go and meet some industry veterans in order to have a chance to go and network with them and get some advice on how to go and elevate your career and stuff like that. And on top of that, there's even a list of people so far that is said to be involved with Hart Con and who you could go and potentially meet. And in here, it states that, of course, you're going to go and meet Butch Hartman, but on top of that, you'll get a chance to meet voice actors like Eric Bauza and Tara Strong. You can also meet producers like Taylor Bradbury, animators and directors like Rob Pratt, and Hollywood talent representatives like Julie Kane Rich. Now, let's say you're interested in going in this Hart Con. Maybe it's an opportunity that you would like to go and take. Now, how could you go and try to get access into Hart Con? How do you get into something like this? Well, if you want to know, all you have to do is go and register. Now, of course, there is a bit of a date limit. You have until February 23rd in order to go and make your registration. So, of course, you just need to simply sign in your information. Just basic information like your name, your email, and why do you want to go there. Simple as that. And then also, there is a little fee that you got to go and pay because, of course, like with any convention, you have to go and pay in order to go and enter in. And with your ticket that you do buy, you do get access to both of those days, and you get access to like the different workshops, the different activities and events that are going on. So you got access to everything, or at least most of what is happening during Hart Con. The catch, though, is the fact that the tickets are at a base price of $1,500, or more specifically, $1,499 for the general 2-day event ticket, in which it even says here that this price includes your admission to event for both days. This ticket includes a workbook, Butch Hartman's book, Mad Hustle, a time of Q&A with amazing voice actors, character designers, producers, writers, and more. This ticket does not include dinner. But what if you want a little more out of it? Maybe this is not enough. What if you want to go extra with your experience? Well, that will be the VIP ticket, where if you spend $150 more, which, by the way, the cost is $1,649, and I don't even know if this is like before or after tax. I don't know if tax even is involved in this, but it says that this price includes everything from the general ticket, your admission to event for both days, as well as a VIP dinner with Butch Hartman. This dinner will not be one-on-one, but it will be an intimate setting. I know he doesn't mean it that way, but a very poor choice of words there. Anyways, each person who purchases the VIP ticket will receive a custom drawing from Butch Hartman. So that's pretty much what you get. If you spend $150 more, you get a dinner with Butch Hartman, and you get an art commission. So yeah. Oh, and by the way, there is one more thing because, you can't see it right over here, but there is a disclaimer that actually does say, because unfortunately my screen over here is kind of like covering it, but it says that each ticket is non-refundable and does not include your flights or hotel stay. So it really is a base price of $1,500. Now, with all that said, I just want to go and start off by making this comment that I know that when it comes to these specific types of events, they are not uncommon in the animation industry. In fact, just in the entertainment industry, this is quite common to see that many veterans would go and they would put out their own kind of education program. That there are some voice actors, some animators, some show creators and stuff like that. They would go and when it's a more downtime in their careers, they would go and start a new business venture where they would go and begin this workshop or kind of like this, like I said, an education program where they would go and teach the next generation about the craft that they have mastered. Like case in point, you got Steve Bloom, who is out there providing workshops to teach people about the voice acting industry, to help sharpen your craft and how to really get there how to really go and make a name for yourself in the industry, or to help to give your career a boost. Or there's Don Bluth, who has a program called Don Bluth University, where it's like a legitimate course that would take a few months. But he has several classes during that program where he would teach people about animation and how he would go and produce animation so that the next generation can go and follow those same steps as well. Now, those things are quite common, and that's not what I'm going to go and condemn Butch Hartman for. If he wants to go and make his own workshop or education program on how to go and become a showrunner like him, then all right, fine. He can go and do that. But considering that we are talking about Butch Hartman, though, there's just a way that he does it that honestly feels like it's more about him than it is actually about helping the next generation. I mean, we're literally talking about something that Butch Hartman this is about Butch Hartman creating something that he calls Hart Con. I mean, he basically created a straight up me-con. And I know that I am not the first to go and say this, but this is really another prominent example of Butch Hartman really inflating his ego. Like, I know that there are people who would go and complain about others having a bit of this egotistical attitude. I know that I used to have that problem back in the 2010s, but I've been doing my best to try to go and improve on that. And I mean, I'm still doing my best I can in order to go and humble myself. But when it comes to Butch Hartman, like, holy crap, there are only a few people in the animation industry that have an ego that can be bigger than Butch Hartman. In fact, like, his ego is probably the one thing that is bigger than the legacy of his shows like Danny Phantom and The Fairly Odd Parents. And how ironic is it that Butch Hartman considers himself a Christian, like a devout Christian, and yet he is quite the prominent example of why pride is considered a sin. It's like the dude can't really see that in the mirror because he just has so much vanity for himself. And not to mention that even when you do look at the stuff that Butch Hartman would go and offer, like going back into what you would get out of your tickets, like over here is like what he is offering is just like he's offering his book, he's offering the people that he knows about. Like, really, of course, like, he would bring in people like Eric Bauza and Tara Strong, considering that, they've played key roles in Butch Hartman shows. And I think the most hilarious thing about it is when you would have to go and jump to the VIP ticket, because the only bonus that you get compared to the general 2-day admission ticket is just having a dinner with Butch Hartman and having an art commission with Butch Hartman. So it really is more about him than it actually is about either the convention itself or about helping the next generations. And not to mention, like, speaking of like the tickets and the price itself, this is another thing that is absolutely ridiculous. It's the factor of the price of these tickets and the fact that it is a base price of $1,500, to which it doesn't include your food, your flight, and your hotel. So already, if you do plan to go, like, you're probably already gonna go and spend like maybe $3,000 to $4,000 just for those 2 days in particular. And this doesn't, and even if you already live there, like even if you live close by to where the convention is going to be happening and stuff, you still have to pay like freaking $1,500, and you still have to pay for like your food and stuff. So already you might have to go and spend $2,000 just on those 2 days alone. And the wildest thing about the prices is just the fact that when it comes to becoming an animator or when it comes to becoming a show creator, these are not jobs where you aspire to be rich and famous. Like, if you wish for fame and fortune, then getting into the animation industry is not for you. Because even people to this day, like, even people who have technically made it per se, like, even like very talented animators who would have thousands, if not millions of followers on social media, even when they have like a very wonderful portfolio that has a lot of like great works upon it, and that they had a history of working on some major projects for studios like Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, Illumination, Sony, and many, many more. Even at that, they wouldn't be able to freaking afford this. they wouldn't have just $1,500 to go and spare just to go into this 2-day event for what is basically just networking. It's just an opportunity to go and network with some prominent people in the industry, and maybe it could be beneficial in the long run. There is no promise that the networking that you're going to do in that convention could even actually lead to somewhere. Like, yes, I know networking is an integral part of the entertainment industry, and it's a big help to let you go somewhere. But still, when it comes to this in particular, when it comes to when it comes to this event, the fact that you have to pay, like, at minimum $1,500, it sounds ridiculous. And that's why I got to go and ask, who the fridge is this for? Because if you're going to be aiming for, like, aspiring voice actors, aspiring creators, and aspiring animators, I can guarantee you they don't have the money for that. Like, really, at the most, you're just going to be getting the upper class in there. This is why I feel like when it comes to Hart Con, it really feels like, at best, it's like one of those pay-to-play websites. And as a voice actor, I know my fair share of those, like Voices123 or Voices.com or whatever, where basically the priority is not about your talent. It's not about how well, how good of an actor you are. It's about how much money you're willing to go and give them in order to go and get a leg up about it. And that's essentially what Butch Hartman is offering. It's mainly for the upper class so that they can have a bit of a shortcut, so that they could go and network with people like Tara Strong, Eric Bauza, producers, writers, and talent agents, and all that kind of stuff, so that they could get a heads up in their career. And it's largely due to their wealth, more so to their talent. And I think that's the biggest thing that I personally feel like is just absolutely bullcrap about it. And again, this is especially the case when that's just the price of the tickets alone, and he's not even offering the same prices for hotels and for the flight and all that kind of stuff. That's where I kind of feel like it's going a little bit too far, and why it just feels like this might be another one of Butch Hartman's schemes. And that's the thing that I just feel like it's just so baffling when it comes to Butch Hartman, because you would think that after what we know about Butch Hartman, that this dude would be done and out. Like, especially with his bad practices over the years, like, especially after his days of Nickelodeon, you would think that, like, people would learn their lesson after the whole controversy with the Oaxis streaming service, which may have turned out to be a scam. And, like, maybe there might have been some history with Butch Hartman where at worst he might have committed fraud. In fact, I honestly question if Butch Hartman even pays his taxes. And on top of that, like, not to mention, there was also that other controversy where he was kind of involved with, I don't know what it was, like this camp, or he was offering, like, he and his wife were like a part of like this Christian group that were dedicated to curing people of autism. Like, I might have gotten the details screwed up, but I do recall that Butch Hartman and his wife were involved with something that was promoting that they are like this camp or this program that they go and cure people of autism or whatever. Like, just that kind of nonsense. But you would think that people would know about that. You would think people would learn their lesson. But alas, that is not the case, however. Like, Butch Hartman is still out there, and it kind of feels like Butch Hartman kind of pulled a Doug Walker in a sense, where he doesn't hold any accountability for the actions that he has done in the past. And now he's just moving on, where people are still highly regarding him as this admirable creator. And yet it's just like, oh, well, those past things, it was like, even if you do bring up like those past controversies, you're still going to get those dumb people that are like, why are you bringing up old crap, man? Why don't you move on from that stuff? It's just wild to me. Like, why? Honestly, like with the things what Butch Hartman has been doing, and the fact that he's still being enabled, he is still working on prominent shows and stuff like that. I can't help but feel like I'm looking at freaking Butch Hartman, and I feel like the Jesse meme from Breaking Bad. You know, the one that, like, you know, he's just crying to the heavens, and he's just like, he can't keep getting away with this. He can't keep getting away with this. Overall, it's just so weird to see him going like this, and now putting up something that is essentially a me-con. That's all it is. It's a convention that's all about the glory of Butch Hartman, and that he is providing the services to people to help boost their careers, even at an insanely crazy price. So yeah, overall though, like, I will say, I'm not accusing Hart Con of being a straight up scam, because as I'm recording this, it hasn't happened just yet. And there might be a likelihood that maybe Butch Hartman can actually go and deliver on his promises on this. But still, though, honestly, there's just so much of it that just feels massively sus. And it's hard to look past all the imagery of Butch Hartman trying to make this about himself more so than the attendees who want to help and boost their careers. So I just wanted to go and comment on that. All right, now with that said, I would like to pass this on to the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, how do you feel about Hart Con? I want to know what you all think, if this is something that you want to be on board with, or is there too many things that are a little too suspicious? In fact, why don't we go and have a little bit more fun? And I'm going to go and write down a poll, and I'm going to be crazy enough to go and ask, would you attend Hart Con? So I'll go and write down yes, and then I'll write down no, and let's see what the chat wall has to say. All right, so, nope, forget it. I'm not falling for this scam, especially when tickets cost more than a house payment. I'd call Butch Hartman a con artist, but that would imply that he's any sort of artist. No opportunity to get into the entertainment industry is worth any of this. After the Oaxis debacle, nobody should give Butch Hartman money for anything. He says that he created my childhood, but so did Dan Snyder and John Cristofalusi. And look how much respect have for them. Yeah, you do have a point there. All right, let's see now. Okay, I must confess, yes, I have met Butch Hartman, and he was the first cartoon creator I met. Am I proud of this? Not really. After all the crazy stuff happened, I'm glad I've met and known better people in the animation industry later on. As for Hart Con, unless there are free pass credentials, I'm definitely not touching it. There are better artists to meet and talk to instead, like, for example, Amy Thompson. I met her yesterday, and she's very nice. Oh, nice. Well, honestly, Amy Thompson is one that I would like to go and meet. I mean, with her portfolio, like, she is honestly incredible. And I mean, this is an animator that you definitely need to look out for, especially with like, now, like, I think she definitely is the artist of 2025, considering that she has been, like, her personal touch has been on like Zootopia 2 and K-pop Demon Hunters. Like, yeah, honestly, we need to give Amy Thompson more respect, because like, whatever admiration and respect that she has now, she needs more of it. I'm just saying. Okay, let's see here. This is a terrible idea. This just feels like an excuse to just boost Butch Hartman's ego. Not to mention the price of it is just ridiculous. Seriously, it's at the point where it feels like a scam. I mean, we all remember Oaxis. Seriously, it makes me glad some of his recent projects related to Butch Hartman have no involvement from him, like Fairly Odd Parents and New Wish and the recent Danny Phantom graphic novel. Oh, okay. Well, okay, that is good. I mean, that does help, that knowing like Butch Hartman is not there for either a New Wish or whatever new Danny Phantom thing is going on. So at least Nickelodeon is aware. And by the way, I do want to go and mention, yes, I am aware, or at least because of the chat wall, I am aware that SaberSpark did make a video where he did go and analyze it, or either a video or a stream or something like that. But I just thought I would go and personally put my piece on it. I'm not doing this because Saber has done it. I just feel like that is definitely a bit of a coincidence. But yeah, honestly, I feel like, though, this is something that more people should go and talk about because, like, yeah, something is very off, especially like when Butch Hartman is trying to do a new business venture. That's when we all need to go and sound the alarms, and that we need people like, we need more people than just like me and Saber to go and discuss about this. So I'm just saying. And by the way, it looks like the results are in, and shockingly enough, 96% of you have said no, you are not going to go and attend to Hart Con. Now, with that said, I want to know who the fridge is that one person who has actually voted that they want to go and attend Hart Con. I am very curious. Okay. Anyways, let's see here. I'll just read 2 more comments and then we'll move on from this. So, Hart Con from Butch Hartman sounds more like a scam con than a legit convention con. Seriously, the tickets and prices themselves is way too expensive than your average Comic-Con tickets, which no one can afford unless you're a rich person. It feels like he's doing it for the sake of needing more money, if how broke he is. I've been to several cons in the past, like Galaxy Con, and even they would not do this to fans for the purpose of a scam. Let's see. Tell you the truth, now I honestly regret mourning for him for the passing of Guy Moon. I'll explain later. I mean, geez Louise, I don't think even a regular Comic-Con charges that much, and I have never been into one. Maybe I'd be interested to know some of the stuff to sharpen my skills, but for a price like that, no way, Jose. I'd rather pay for an entire animation set or even a car than spend it on a lousy convention. I love watching his shows, but that's a crude example to never meet your heroes. Yeah, honestly, honestly, with all that said, I know we've been bashing on Hart Con hard, but there is one positive thing that I can go and say about Hart Con. Regardless of how it may turn out, regardless of who may be involved, including Butch Hartman, at least it ain't Anime Matsuri.